The next classic I'll be doing recommendations for is The Searchers. The first recommendation is No Name on the Bullet from 1959. A quiet western town is thrown to a whirlwind of chaos when a man, played by Audie Murphy, arrives in the town. Murphy is a notorious gunman who conducts contract killings, so everyone assumes that he's here to kill a citizen of the town. Tension mounts as every shady character thinks he's the one on the hit list. Meanwhile, some of the more noble citizens investigate Murphy to try to figure out who he's here to kill. As many of you can tell, Audie Murphy goes against type here playing the villain. Not only is he great, but Murphy's character is easily one of the best villains I've ever seen in a western. He's not just a violent man, he's the epitome of malevolence. There's a scene where the sheriff tries to run him out of town, but Murphy won't budge. So the sheriff pulls a gun, and Murphy shoots his hand. The sheriff asks why Murphy didn't kill him, to which Murphy replies, "I wasn't paid to." To me, that's more threatening than if he killed him in cold blood. I am not an Audie Murphy fan. I think he's a weak actor, but I realize why he became a big movie star. However, I was genuinely captivated by his role. His demeanor alone is enough to convey the sinister nature of his character. Half the time, Murphy doesn't have to do anything. He just sits and watches people, but his presence is enough to make the whole town uneasy. I think part of what makes these scenes so effective is the staging of the actors. Murphy was not a tall man, and the film doesn't try to hide that. Other characters tower over him, and at a glance, it seems like he's the underdog sharpshooter trying to keep others from trampling over him. But when everyone sits down, it makes it feel like they're equals. Not only that, but the director cleverly stages some actors in the background and puts Murphy in the foreground. This makes him feel like a giant. These key creative choices made early on make later scenes where Murphy is the only one sitting feel like he's the only one with power. I also love how Murphy enjoys the paranoia he's causing people. I mean, that smirk says it all. You start to wonder if he's purposely delaying his kill just so he can enjoy other people's pain. This is one of those films that fit into the subgenre of westerns that examine the human condition. Think The Gunfighter and High Noon. They're less stories about good versus evil and more about what happens to regular people when they feel something throwing off their everyday lives. The paranoia that sets into the town feels organic, and that's helped by the stellar cast. If you're a fan of classic westerns, then I guarantee you'll recognize a couple faces. There's R.G. Armstrong, Warren Stevens, Virginia Gray, and Whit Bissell. Although Bissell is probably best remembered for the director's other project, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yes, Jack Arnold, who brought us some of the best of 1950s sci-fi, directed this movie. It isn't that surprising when you think about it, because many of Arnold's films have brilliant moments of suspense and a well-written script, and those are probably my favorite aspects of the film. Don't get me wrong, the suspense isn't like an Alfred Hitchcock film by any means. It's more of a slow burn where you constantly find yourself second-guessing who the victim is.
And the script does a good job developing all the side characters to where you aren't sure who to root for anymore.
After a while, you wonder who's worse, Murphy or some of the people in the town. This second guessing on who to root for is really what made me think of The Searchers, because John Wayne's character is so polarizing. For that reason, the great supporting cast, the examination of human behavior, the clever script, and the lead playing a ruthless man, I recommend No Name on the Bullet.